Okay, I am going to teach you some basics of how to do a seashell bun. Now, first thing I need to talk through is just some of the products that we're going to be using. So you have hair nets, we're going to need some hair elastics. You're actually going to need a couple of them, not just one. We're going to need hairpins. Now, we're going to use two different sizes. We're going to have, I'll show you both a little one, we're going to need a couple of those, and a bunch of long ones. But I'm going to show you some tricks on hairpins because you're going to use a lot less than you think you are. You're going to need a comb to part the hair. This is an optional thing, but it's one of my favorites. It's called a horseshoe brush, and it's going to smooth the hair out really, really well in order to make it smooth and sleek. This is some bonus, and I'll explain about this in a minute. This isn't for everybody. And then we're going to need some hair gel and some hairspray. Now, I am just looking for cheap hairspray or hair gel. You're not going to want anything expensive. This is just to set the base, because this beauty here, the got to be glued, is going to do all the work. Once this stuff dries, your hair is not moving. In fact, if you take a look down here, it says spike cement finish. This stuff is amazing. It's going to be your best friend. Hair gel is great. There is also the option if you want to use some mousse to style it, but just one of the two, that's what you're looking for. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we want to make sure that there are no tangles in her hair. So we're just going to smooth it all out, make sure everything's ready. Now, we're going to part the hair. I bring it back, just straight back, and I'm looking, turn your head this way. Basically, the part is going to go right over the middle of the eye, and on our team, we're going to go on the right-hand side and just split it like this. Okay, so we're just going to split it right over the middle of the eye. Okay, go ahead and turn back. Now, here comes the fun part. I want you to notice how much gel I'm using. Okay, we used to call this a slug. You want a ton of gel because this needs to stay down. And I'm going to take some and I'm just going to wipe it down the whole way. I'm just putting it on the top half. But I want lots and lots of gel. Because we spin a lot and we definitely don't want this to move. And from here, I'm now going to comb it out away from that part until it's nice and smooth. And then I'm going to secure it here as a ponytail in the back. Okay, we have this basically smooth back now. Now, here's the thing. A seashell bun is going to curl underneath. So you don't want this elastic at the base of your neck. You're actually going to want it about aligned with your ear line. That way you have room to tuck the bun under. So I'm going to do an initial elastic just to secure it down. And I would use a nice thick elastic because this is going to be holding pretty much everything else in place. Okay. Now, if you decide to go with the horseshoe brush, this is the cool part. You get to brush down like a horse. But if you notice already how that just naturally smoothed out her hair, you can kind of see there's a difference there. And it just gets all those little flyaways out of the way. Personally, in order to make this as sleek as possible, you notice, come around this way for a second, that when I smooth this out, it does leave a little bit of a bump in the back. So at this point, I'm actually going to take the hair elastic out, smooth down that bottom part one more time. But now her hair is nice and smooth and ready to put in the bun. Okay, now that her ponytail is set, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use just a little bit of free spray so that it starts setting. So we're going to be very generous with this, but I'm going to initially just do a good solid coat and let it start drying. Okay, first layer of shellac. If you feel like your hair is a little bit too wet from all that gel, you can always blow dry it a little bit so it holds in place first. But now we're going to deal with this bun. The first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a little bit of hair, just a strand like this. You can get in a little closer for this. I'm going to take this strand of hair, I'm going to put a little bit of gel on it. And then I'm going to wrap it around the elastic to hide it, okay? It's going to make a couple of rounds, just around like that. And so I'm going to take one of those tiny pins, the little one, and I'm just going to secure it down. Now here's the secret to securing pins. I go up away from the hair, and then I twist it and push down towards the bun. If you do this, it twists and secures the hair, and you're going to use a whole lot less pins in general. Okay, that's going to go in the hairnet in just a minute. Now, I said you're going to use multiple elastics because what I'm going to do now, my bun is going to be about this long, so about every 2 inches, I'm going to secure an elastic. If you have longer hair, you're going to need more elastics. Shorter hair, probably not as many. But I'm just going to put a bump in like that. Go about 2 more inches down, do another one. Maybe a little bit tighter together this time, because it's going to wrap up and roll into the other one. So she's got one here. And when I get to the very end, I'm actually going to use a thinner elastic because I'm going to tuck this up into itself. And this really helps to secure it down and gives me a smooth edge, no spikies sticking out. And you can see them a little bit right now, but they're going to disappear here. Okay, from here, I'm going to start rolling it up. This little knob goes into here. This goes into here, and this goes into here, and this is how I get the bun. Now, if you have really long, thick hair, you're going to get this really big, beautiful bun. But I was telling you, this is for some people. If your hair's a little bit thinner, you can actually cheat a little bit to make your bun thicker. So I stick this over the end, and I roll up around it. And this is how she gets a really nice, thick bun. So I put down just a little bit to fit it, and it's going to just simply go around it like that. If you take a look at it from the side, now it has a little bit like a seashell shape. That's how it's going to hold. Okay, now that we've got the shape we want, I'm going to secure it. I'm going to take 2 pins, bumpy side up, and like I said before, I'm going to go through the hair away and then turn it and slide it back across and through the bun. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. So I go right through the middle. I only need a little bit of hair. You really don't need a lot of hair to go through it, just a little tiny pinch, twist, and turn it back around and through the bun. Now, if she shakes her head lightly, at this point that's somewhat secure. It's not going to feel secure to her head yet, but it's holding it in place. So at this point, this is where I now use the hairnet. So the hairnet, I'm going to start it over on one side, bring it around all the way to the bottom. Now there's some differences of opinion. Some people say wrap back and forth and back and forth. One of my friends who styles hair professionally, she actually only does the one. I do a second one just because I'm not as good as her. And then simply secure it and then tuck it in. Tuck it into the bun on the side. Okay? So that's how she does it. And then that way you get still a clean look and you can still see all the hair rather than just seeing a ton of bun. With this one, I'm going to use another bobby pin, and I'm going to secure down that hair net. And secure with a little tiny pin on top here. And I'm going to put one more on the other side just to make sure that it doesn't slide over. Just like that. Okay? Now at this point, I would actually use about 8 pins total. I put 2 in the bottom. I would put 2 more on top, 2 more below, and just kind of like basically up to 8 pins around the edges. But if you use those long ones and you pull around like I did, that's going to hold really well. Go ahead and shake for a second. You can see for the most part, it's not moving anywhere. And then this is where your best friend comes into play. We're going to drown it, okay? Hold your breath. As soon as that sets, that hair is not going anywhere. So now I shellac one more time. And you can see how already it's made her hair very, very shiny. This is is where I can go back through one more time with that horse brush if I want to, just to smooth it out, or use my fingers. And like I said, now you'd put in just a couple extra bobby pins so that the dancer feels secure, like the hair's holding. And that is your seashell bun.